Imagine a world where a loaf of bread costs millions, even billions, where your life savings, earned over decades, suddenly become worthless paper. This isn't a scene from a dystopian movie. This was the reality for millions of Germans during the Weimar Republic in the early 1920s. This period of hyperinflation left a deep collective scar on the German psyche, a trauma so profound that it continues to shape the economic policies of not just Germany, but all of Europe, a century later. Today, we're going to unravel the story of the Weimar hyperinflation and trace its long shadow into our modern world. So, how did Germany, a major industrial power, find itself in such a catastrophic mess? The story begins, as many do, with war. World War I. Germany financed its war effort not by raising taxes, but by borrowing heavily, convinced that victory would allow it to pay off its debts with reparations from the defeated Allies. Well, we all know how that turned out. Germany lost, and instead of receiving payments, it was slapped with the massive war reparations bill from the Treaty of Versailles. The initial amount demanded was a staggering 132 billion gold marks. This was an astronomical sum, far beyond what the war-torn German economy could possibly handle. The German government, now the Weimar Republic, was caught between a rock and a hard place. It had to pay its own war debts, fund reconstruction, and somehow find the money for these crippling reparations. Their solution? The printing press. At first, it seemed like a clever fix. The government printed more and more paper marks to buy foreign currency, to pay the reparations, and to cover its own expenses. But this was like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The more money they printed, the less each mark was worth. In early 1921, $1 was worth about 60 marks. By November 1923, just 2.5 years later, $1 was worth 4.2 trillion marks. Trillion. The speed of the collapse was breathtaking. Prices would double in a matter of hours. Workers demanded to be paid twice a day, rushing to spend their wages before they became worthless. People would haul wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy basic groceries. One famous story tells of a man who left his wheelbarrow of money outside a shop, only to find that thieves had stolen the wheelbarrow that left the worthless piles of cash behind. The social fabric of the country was torn apart. The middle class, the backbone of any stable society, was wiped out. Their savings, pensions, and investments evaporated overnight. This created a profound sense of betrayal and instability. Who benefited? A small number of speculators and those with large debts, which they could now pay off with worthless money. For everyone else, it was a disaster. This economic chaos fueled political extremism, paving the way for radical parties on both the left and right to gain traction by promising simple solutions to complex problems. The hyperinflation finally ended in late 1923 with the introduction of a new currency, the Rentenmark, which was supposedly backed by land and industrial assets. It was a bluff, really, but it worked. The German people, desperate for stability, accepted the new currency, and confidence was slowly restored. The old, worthless paper marks were swept from the streets, but the memory remained. This national trauma became known as German angst about inflation. It's a deep-seated fear that printing money and accumulating debt will inevitably lead to economic ruin. This fear was passed down through generations. Grandparents told their children and grandchildren stories of the wheelbarrows of cash, of starvation, of a society on the brink of collapse. For Germans, price stability isn't just an economic concept. It's a moral imperative, a cornerstone of social order. Now, let's fast forward. After another devastating war and the division of the country, West Germany rebuilt itself into an economic powerhouse. Its central bank, the Bundesbank, established in 1957, was designed with one primary goal in mind: to ensure price stability at all costs. The Bundesbank was made fiercely independent from political interference, a direct lesson from the Weimar era, when the government had forced the central bank to print money. The Bundesbank's unwavering commitment to fighting inflation earned it a reputation as one of the most credible and respected central banks in the world. The German Deutschmark became a symbol of stability, a rock in the turbulent waters of the post-war global economy. This brings us to the creation of the euro. When European leaders began planning for a single currency in the 1990s, Germany was the economic heart of the project. But the German public was extremely reluctant to give up their beloved Deutschmark. Why trade a symbol of stability for an unknown, untested new currency shared with countries that had, historically, been less strict about inflation? To get Germany on board, the new European Central Bank, or ECB, had to be modelled on the German Bundesbank. The Maastricht Treaty, which laid the foundation for the euro, explicitly states that the primary objective of the ECB is to maintain price stability. It was given political independence and a strict mandate to keep inflation low, typically aiming for a target of around 2%. Essentially, Germany agreed to join the euro only if its deep-seated fear of inflation was baked into the very DNA of Europe as new monetary system. The ECB's headquarters are even in Frankfurt, the same city as the Bundesbank, a symbolic nod to its German-inspired heritage. So, how has this played out in the 21st century? For the first decade of the euro, the system worked relatively well. But then came the 2008 global financial crisis and the subsequent European debt crisis. Countries like Greece, Ireland, and Spain were facing bankruptcy. In the United States, the Federal Reserve responded aggressively with quantitative easing, essentially creating new money to buy government bonds and stimulate the economy. Many argued the ECB should do the same. But here, the legacy of Weimar reared its head. In Germany, the idea of the central bank printing money to bail out indebted governments was a horrifying echo of the past. German media ran cartoons depicting EIP officials with printing presses, stoking fears of runaway inflation. German politicians and economists fiercely resisted these calls, arguing it would violate the core principles of the Eurozone and lead down a slippery slope to hyperinflation. This created a major conflict within the Eurozone. Southern European countries, facing crippling austerity and unemployment, begged the ECB to do more. Northern countries, led by Germany, urged fiscal discipline and warned against the dangers of easy money. The ECB was caught in the middle, trying to save the euro without spooking its most powerful member. Eventually, in 2012, ECB President Mario Draghi famously declared that the bank would do whatever it takes to preserve the euro. This was a turning point. The ECB did launch its own form of quantitative easing, but it was done later, and with more reluctance, than in the US or the UK. And even then, it faced legal challenges in Germany, driven by the persistent fear of inflation. This same dynamic is playing out again today. In the wake of the pandemic and the energy crisis, inflation has returned to Europe, reaching levels not seen in decades. And once again, the debate rages. Should the ECB raise interest rates aggressively to stamp out inflation, even if it risks a recession? Or should it be more cautious to avoid hurting struggling economies? Germany and other northern hawk countries typically push for a strong anti-inflationary stance, while southern dovish countries worry about the economic and social costs of high interest rates. Every decision the European Central Bank makes is viewed through this historical lens. The ghost of the Weimar Republic haunts the halls of the ECB in Frankfurt. The fear of repeating that catastrophic mistake a century ago means that European monetary policy is fundamentally more cautious, more conservative, and more obsessed with price stability than that of its counterparts like the US Federal Reserve. So, The next time you hear about a debate over the ECB's interest rate policy, or Germany's stance on European debt, remember the wheelbarrows. Remember the worthless banknotes used as wallpaper and kindling. The story of the Weimar hyperinflation is not just a curious chapter in a history book. It's a living legacy, a collective trauma that shaped the economic soul of a continent and continues to influence the value of the money in the pockets of hundreds of millions of Europeans today. It's a powerful reminder that the economic decisions of the past echo through the generations, shaping our present and our future in ways we are only beginning to understand. Thanks for watching. If you found this dive into economic history interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Let us know in the comments what other historical events you'd like to see us cover. See you in the next video.